we're rolling to another topic. I saw a consumer report this week. Sellers can increase the value of their home by up to 12%. There's always lots of opinions, and you know what they say about opinions, about what you can do to improve your home's value. But there was one this week that came out from Consumer Reports and also one from Zillow, and both of them had a lot of the same, the same kind of feel to them. The 5 items that Consumer Reports recommend that you do. And there's also some misnomers in here about what you should and shouldn't do. But decluttering, cost range of 0 to 2,500, a potential return of 3 to 5%. Again, you're clearing away boxes, you're minimizing some of the space, you're making those rooms look bigger. Making over the kitchen. Now, they're not talking about an extreme makeover with the kitchen. They're talking about maybe, restaining some cabinets, changing out your hardware, maybe swapping out a couple of appliances. They're talking, they're not talking extreme makeover. They're talking maybe a light makeover. Freshening up the bathroom, maybe putting in a new vanity, caulking the tub, regrouting the floor, new fixtures. Paint, interior paint can make a big difference if it's, looks bad. That's number 4. Number 5 is exterior touch-ups and what I call curb appeal. And I think that is one of the best investments that you can make because you can't change the person's first opinion. Today, the curb appeal becomes important because the first impression is being made online with that first photo. One of the reasons why we take a lot of elevated, we work with a company to take drone shots is because we know how important that curb appeal is, and we feel that's a better angle to show off the land, the lot, the curb appeal, the landscaping, and maybe what's behind or next to the home that a consumer wants to know about. But the curb appeal is really, really important. Even if it's just fresh mulch and some new plants and cleaning up the grass and putting some seed down, you can do it relatively inexpensively. It doesn't have to be super expensive. So I think it's important, when you're talking about curb appeal, that that you pay attention to that. But those are the 5 things that they also talked about.
I have a question.
5 projects. Yeah, go ahead, fire away.
Well, because there was in there about kitchens, so everybody thinks, you got to do all this fancy stuff in the kitchen. Can you talk about maybe doing too much in the kitchen?
Oh, yeah, and I'll tell you, a lot of people do it because you can overspend in the kitchen. The tough part about the kitchen is it's a real personal choice. So a lot of people will say, oh, I'm going to go out and spend 50 grand on a kitchen. And then they think they're going to get 50 grand back out of it, and they're not, because that consumer may walk in and hate your counters and cabinets. I think with the kitchen, a lot of times it's doing the simple things you can to make the space look bigger. Certainly, if you're going to do cabinets or counters, you got to make them relatively neutral. You can't, like I've walked into houses that have, like dark green or weird colors, and that's just going to cause problems. So you have to think about it from a standpoint of what the consumer wants from a neutral position, but also if you overdo it, you're not going to get that money back out of it. If you go really high end with a kitchen, you didn't add all the value back in. Right. And a lot of people make that mistake, which is why this article focuses on really a minor makeover of the kitchen. Like an example is if your kitchen has, dark hardware, the handles and stuff, replace it with stainless. Or if you've got an older fridge or appliances, replace those because they're likely going to pop up in an inspection report. Or maybe putting a backsplash in. It's not necessarily saying that the first solution is swap out the cabinets and the counters. It's saying use what you got and then implement and improve it a little bit. And I think the cabinet staining is an important one too. We've got a house that we recently bought that we're remodeling, and the very first person we spoke to said, oh, you got to get rid of these cabinets. Second guy we spoke to is, oh, no, you can reface these and stain them, and that'll be much more cost effective and be more likely to give us a good return. So I think that's something that a lot of consumers look at wrong. The kitchen isn't always the best place for a lot of money. The kitchen is a best place for a lot of money for your personal taste. Right. If you're selling the property or wanting to make a profit, it's not the best place to pour a bunch of money into all the time.
I think that's a misnomer.
It is totally a misnomer. A lot of people make the mistake of that. So we're going to continue the conversation. Make sure to check us out on our social channels: YouTube.com/The Duncan Duo, Facebook.com/The Duncan Duo Show, and then Twitter and Instagram/The Duncan Duo. When we're not on air, we put photos, videos, lots of information about the real estate market out there. And we'll be back with the Diaz Duo and Paul Arrington from Arrico Property Management after a quick break here on The Duncan Duo Show.